shocking win for a Democratic Socialist candidate in Florida's special Senate Democratic primary. State Representative Angie Nixon defeating Alex Vindman despite his millions of dollars in fundraising. Vindman garnering over $16 million compared to Nixon's six figures. The win raising eyebrows and begging the question, how did a Democratic Socialist win the primary in the Sunshine State? Joining me now is Florida Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. President Trump, of course, winning the state of Florida in 2024 by the largest margin of victory since 1988. What's happened in the 2 years since then? And looking at this specific race, was this just a fluke?
Well, I think it shows you how far left the Democratic Party has fallen in all these progressive policies for a candidate who has not even $1 million to beat a candidate with $16 million statewide, supported by Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and the DSA, and standing for these DSA principles. It's not going to hold here in the great state of Florida. We are a Republican state. When I first got elected, the Republicans had didn't have a voter advantage in the state. We now have a 1.5 million voter advantage in the state. A huge change in the demographics politically in the great state of Florida. So she's going to have a very challenging time. It's great for Ashley Moody because it's going to be very easy to campaign against socialist and communist parties in Florida, where a lot of Floridians reject those type of policies.
Sure, the message will resonate pretty strongly with a lot of people in Florida. Meantime, Congressman, your House colleague Byron winning Florida's Republican gubernatorial primary on Tuesday. So he's going to advance to face Republican turned Democrat David Jolly in November. If Donalds wins the general election, what do you hope he prioritizes as governor of the great state of Florida?
Well, keeping Florida free. I mean, all of the things that have made Florida such a mecca of conservatism and success, the things that DeSantis has built on, we don't have an income tax here in the great state of Florida, and those are the type of things that he will continue. He will be successful. He's going to have to unite the party. We're going to have to get everybody together. There was a whole bunch of people that ran for governor, and we need to stand united behind our nominee now and ensure that he wins in November so that we can continue these successful policies to continue to make Florida the great state that it is.
And voters are making their voices heard. They're souring a little bit on the economy under the Republican majority. Some of the polling out there shows that Democrats now have a 6-point advantage over the GOP on this very issue, with the midterm elections just 75 days away. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy posing a simple question for the GOP. Quote, what is the plan of why you should stay in the majority? Congressman, how can Republicans get the economic messaging out there before November and make sure that it resonates properly? Because I know a lot of people have been trying to get the message out, but it's not sticking.
Well, it's not sticking because mainstream media is fighting against us. All of the far left propaganda that you see is fighting against us. So each member of Congress has to talk about the successes of the One Big Beautiful Bill, of cutting taxes, of the economic situation that President Trump inherited with high inflation from Bidenflation. We have to talk about the successes and the wins. If we don't do that, then obviously the Democrats' talking points of this affordability crisis and the fact that all of these different challenges and not talking about the wins that we had make it very, very challenging for us going into the midterms. So it's incumbent on each member of Congress, each person running for office, talking about those wins and then putting forth policies that will make that affordability crisis better for Americans.
All right, Jonathan Fahey, jump in here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Congressman Steube. You guys have had so many successes. You have the tax cuts. We have the lowest crime rate basically in history in a lot of measurements. And I do think somehow that doesn't get through, maybe because of the mainstream media and otherwise. But what is it that you can say for the next Congress that you will be able to do to make people's lives better, whether more affordable, more prosperous, things like that, so to connect with the voters so they will have faith to take it the next 2 years will be even better than these last 2 years have been?
Well, pushing it back against these progressive leftist policies like Medicare for all that would completely increase spending from the federal government. That's why we are where we are. We spent so much money under Pelosi and Biden that the dollar, the buying value of that has gone down and inflation has gone up because we spent so much money. We're $40 trillion in debt. Congress has to bring that under control. We have to get the debt and deficit spending under control. And Republicans have talked about it, but because of the 60-vote filibuster threshold in the Senate, we can't do anything to actually cut spending. We have to do that, and we have to tell the American people that we are serious about tackling the debt.
Mark Tepper.
Yeah, Congressman, I 100% agree with you because just the interest payments on that debt alone is probably around $1.2 trillion. And we have a budget deficit of maybe $1.6 trillion. So, that's certainly becoming an issue. And it seems like those interest payments are going to go up and up and up. Question for you, though, as it relates to GOP messaging on the economy, what has to be done so that it really sinks in with voters? Because we can talk until we're blue in the face about prices coming down. But in actuality, inflation still tends to be positive year over year. And in my opinion, if we're really focusing on affordability, the best measure of affordability is real wage growth. When someone's wages are growing faster than inflation is rising, that means you have more money in your paycheck. That means you have more money left at the end of the month. And that is what makes life more affordable. So what do we have to do to get the messaging right?
Well, we have to keep talking about the things that we did on the tax bill. And you're exactly right. Wages increasing is a huge thing. And because we kept and capped the tax rate for businesses, it allows them to pay their workers more, which is why you're seeing businesses move to the great state of Florida, because we don't have a business income tax and we don't have an income tax. And you see these policies in Democrat states like California and New York that is pushing businesses and people out of their states to states like Florida. We need to make the United States like we have the policies here in Florida. We need to have a tax base like we have in the great state of Florida, and we need to push those policies in Washington, and we need to talk about those wins and successes. It's just really hard to fight the fake news when their talking points are going against everything that we've done over the last couple of years, and you are having gas prices go up and those type of things, but you're not seeing, like in my district, we got a $6,000 tax credit for seniors on Social Security.
Yeah.
That's huge in a district like mine. That's real money in the pockets of Americans, and people aren't talking about it in the mainstream media, and we need to do a better job of articulating those wins.
Absolutely. Those tax policies that President Trump instituted in the big, beautiful bill are definitely hitting people's pockets. And yet somehow the Democrats grab on to this word affordability, and they manage to kind of undo that or steer the conversation in a different direction. But Congressman Steube, it's great to have you on and have an opportunity to flesh some of this out. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.